don't you have anything you love? Right? I think that what makes this community special is the whole idea of crypto is a decentralized network that nobody owns, that no company, that no country, that no central headquarters controls. It's of the people, right? It's software of the people, for the people, by the people. And once we start this idea of a crypto network, and Bitcoin is the greatest example of a successful crypto network, now you have an application to store monetary energy, right? Bitcoin is monetary energy. Human beings are they rose from the apes. They rose through the Paleolithic times for one reason. We learned how to manage and master and channel energy. It starts with fire. If there's no fire, there's no humanity, right? We genetically wouldn't be what we are without fire. And then, if you ever think about wrestling with a pack of wolves, pretty quickly you realize you don't want to do that. You don't want to spear them either. You don't want to chase after things either. You have to master missiles, which is kinetic energy. And then, if I'm dropped 1 million years ago, I'd go find a river, dam the river, create a pond, let a bunch of fish swim into the pond, and I would do my fishing by reaching down in the pond, grab a fish, cook it. That's hydraulic energy, and at some point it becomes channeling gravitational energy, right? Because water is all about gravity. So we can go on from there, right? There's after the chemical and the gravitational and the kinetic energy, there's other forms of energy. There's no human race, there's no civilization, there's no nothing without channeling energy. All of that energy can become monetary energy. Monetary energy, money, is the apex energy. If I have $1 million, I can convert it into kinetic energy or electrical energy or potential energy. If I have kinetic energy or electrical energy, I can convert it back into monetary energy. Now, we put monetary energy on a crypto network. And why did we do that? Because we wanted the crypto network to transcend any company and any country. We wanted it to we wanted it to be a long duration energy network. How long? Well, you want it to last 100 years. You definitely want to last 10 years, right? And I've made the point before that if you put $100 million into any bank in any city in the world, there's a 95% chance that you lost it when the regime changed and when the government failed. And there's a 100% chance that you lost 90% of your purchasing power because gold miners keep producing more gold. And so that's an energy network that's bleeding power. And whether or not you could say it's bleeding 2% of power a year or 4% of power a year. But energy networks bleed power. Now what the hodlers understand, and what crypto, Twitter, the Bitcoiners, what they understand intuitively, they don't always articulate it this way, is for the first time in human history, we created a monetary energy network that conserves power. It respects the laws of thermodynamics and conservation of energy. If you drop 100,000 or 10,000 or 1,000 or 1 million or 100 million or $1 billion worth of energy into this network, you can reasonably expect 100 years from now, it'll still be there. You won't have drained it because the miners aren't your enemies. They're not draining energy. Now, what does it take for your $100 million or million or 100,000 or $1 to still be there in 100 years? Well, it needs two things. Technology, right? It needs for the software to run and for the miners to operate. The hardware needs to be upgraded. The software needs to work in a trustworthy fashion. The second thing it needs is a bit of religious fervor and conviction that my son or my daughter or my heir is going to defend the network. And if you adopt the idea that the Bitcoin network must be defended, and it's more important than my company, and it's more important than my country, and it's more important than any short-term trade, now you got to an interesting conclusion, right? And the conclusion is this: if money is power, if energy is power, and if monetary energy is the highest form of energy, and therefore monetary energy is money, and money is power. And if I have a power network which will store and channel energy with no power loss for a long, long time, like longer than I'm going to live, we're talking about immortal power. And if power is intrinsic to life, and it is, you got to feed yourself, you have to heat yourself, you have to protect yourself. You're talking about immortal life. And that's the fundamental idea that oftentimes isn't articulated. But Bitcoin's the closest thing we came up with in the history of the world to a network that offers the possibility of immortal life. And I'm not saying immortal life for an individual. Obviously, of course, we're not going to live forever. But my point is, I walk past a park and I want it, and I think, wouldn't it be great if the park stayed green and healthy for the next 100 years? And I have some money, and I endow it into the Bitcoin network, and I leave it, and the Bitcoin network protects it, and that money feeds the maintenance of that park, then I can actually bequeath a park to the city for 7 years after I'm dead. And maybe it's generational wealth. Maybe I'm doing it for my family. Maybe I'm doing it for my religion. Maybe I'm doing it for my political persuasion. Maybe I think you should save the whales or save the seals or whatever you think. It doesn't matter, right? This is all about preserving energy and channeling it toward the thing that I love and I believe in for as long as I believe in it.